Four things were true when I established and copyrighted the PESO model 10 years ago. 10 years. First, I was convinced of its potential to transform the marketing and communications landscape and prove the value of a profession that had often struggled to do so. Second, I was so passionate about its potential that I made it available to the industry to evangelize as the path forward for our profession. Third, the Marcom landscape was quite different than what it is today. And fourth, I had literally no idea what I was doing regarding copywriting, licensing, training, and implementation. I mean, absolutely no idea. It's been quite a road of expensive lessons, evolution, and becoming educated on intellectual property, as well as learning how to turn a framework into a true career accelerator for marketing and communications professionals. What began as a simple model has transformed the careers of thousands of practitioners who understood its potential early. Those early adopters aren't just keeping pace with today's complex marketing environment. They're leading their organizations, commanding higher salaries, and delivering measurable business results that executives cannot ignore. Meanwhile, on the other side, countless others believe they're doing PESO when they're actually missing the integration that is what makes the framework so powerful. The gap between these two groups, the PESO model practitioners and those merely dabbling in disconnected tactics, continues to widen, often determining the difference between career stagnation and professional advancement. On this week's FinSucks podcast episode, we're not just celebrating history, we're elevating the model to ensure that certified PESO model practitioners continue to stand out as the elite professionals who truly understand integrated, measurable marketing and communications. Welcome back to the FinSucks podcast. I'm Gini Dietrich. The marketing and communications world of 2014 feels almost quaint by today's standards. Back then, organic social still delivered meaningful reach. News cycles lasted more than a few hours, and AI was something that most practitioners considered a distant, very distant, maybe even didn't even know what it was yet, future concern. In just a decade, everything has changed. Social media has evolved from an experimental channel to a pay-to-play necessity. Content creation demands have increased exponentially. The pandemic fundamentally changed how we all consume information and interact with brands. And AI has rapidly moved from theoretical discussions to practical daily applications, reshaping our profession. More significantly, C-suite expectations have transformed. Marketing and communications professionals are no longer judged by outputs, such as the number of news releases issued, but by outcomes, measurable business results that directly affect the bottom line. Those unable to demonstrate this connection find themselves increasingly marginalized in budget discussions and strategic planning. Practitioners thriving in this environment share a common trait. They've embraced the PESO model, a fully integrated and measurable framework, as the only viable path forward. They understand that siloed approaches, treating paid, earned, shared, and owned media as separate tactics, simply cannot generate the amplification necessary to break through today's noise. This is where the gap between PESO model certified practitioners and their peers becomes most apparent. While many professionals struggle to adapt to these rapid changes, those properly implementing the integrated approach are turning industry challenges into career opportunities. Let me be blunt. Most professionals who claim to use the PESO model are not actually doing so. We come across so many practitioners who say they're using it, but in fact are just choosing tactics from each media type and calling it a day. My friends, that is not the PESO model. It's a list of tactics. You might have a paid advertising strategy, some media relations, some social media posts, and some content on your website. But that is not integration, and it's certainly not the PESO model. It's just doing four things from each media type separately. True PESO model implementation is a scientific framework that we have spent an inordinate amount of time putting together and evolving. And we create it so that it moves with times, and there's science behind it. It's not just art. It's where each element reinforces and amplifies the others through deliberate strategic connection points. It's owned content being strategically promoted through paid channels to very specific audiences. It's earned media coverage being extended through targeted social amplification. It's shared content inspiring journalists to develop deeper stories. It's every piece of content working harder because it's part of an integrated ecosystem rather than a standalone tactic. Meanwhile, those implementing parallel tactics across different channels are finding it increasingly difficult to break through the noise, justify their budgets, or demonstrate meaningful results. What's most telling is how this gap manifests in professional advancement. Those who truly understand integrated implementation are increasingly being elevated to strategic roles, while those stuck in tactical execution find themselves struggling to prove their worth. Tactics versus strategy, measuring outputs versus outcomes. They're just entirely different conversations and entirely different results. Recognizing this widening gap, we've spent the past year reimagining how the model can better serve professionals in today's environment. This evolution focuses on 3 areas. Number 1, rigorous current certification. So starting next month, all PESO model certifications will be valid for 2 years before requiring renewal. This isn't just about creating recurring revenue. It's about ensuring that when you identify yourself as a PESO model certified practitioner, it represents current expertise, not a one-time learning experience from years ago. Number 2, advanced implementation frameworks. We've developed new frameworks that address specific scenarios, from resource-constrained teams to enterprise-scale strategies, agency-specific approaches, and industry-specific applications. These frameworks move beyond theory to provide actionable playbooks tailored to your organizational reality. And number 3, of course, is AI integration through the model. We've completely reimagined how artificial intelligence fits within the PESO model, not as a separate consideration, but as an integrated capability that enhances each component, from identifying high potential content topics to implementing intelligent amplification, predicting outcomes, and creating sustainable content workflows. Together, these evolutions ensure that PESO model certified practitioners will continue to stand out in an increasingly competitive landscape. These changes represent the most significant update to the PESO model since its inception, and will reshape how forward-thinking professionals approach integrated marketing and communications. Now, in just a few minutes, I'll talk you through how these changes are going to help you take full advantage of how to create more opportunity for yourself in your career. I'll be right back. Welcome back. We've talked through the evolution of the industry, the gap between theory and practice, and what's coming next. Now let's discuss the exciting developments, I'm so excited, that will help you take full advantage of these changes. To make all of this happen, I realized something important. I needed help from people who truly understand the PESO model and can bring different perspectives and talents to the table. And because of that, I am absolutely thrilled. I'm so excited to share that I have put together a leadership team that you are about to be thrilled about. Travis Claytor is our Chief Integration Officer, and I've worked with Travis for years. And literally every time I sit in a meeting with him, a client meeting with him, I'm blown away by his insights. He has an uncanny ability to look at an organization's existing efforts and immediately see integration opportunities that everyone else has missed. He's implemented the PESO model across multiple industries, and he consistently delivers exceptional results. In his new role, Travis will ensure that when you work with us, you get practical guidance that actually works in your specific situation. Next, we have Shelly Verkamp, who is our Chief Learning Officer. She spent 23 years at Eli Lilly leading learning and develop initiatives, and she understands how busy professionals learn and implement new approaches. She's already looking at how we teach the PESO model and developing approaches that work for different learning styles and organizational contexts. She's effectively taking what's in my brain and making it accessible to everyone, no matter what your learning style is. Under Shelly's guidance, our certification program, online courses, guidebooks, and other materials will be a transformative learning experience that gives you practical tools to implement immediately. And last but not least, Christopher Barger, who is the Chief Strategy Officer. 12 years ago, almost to the day, Christopher and I happened to be in London at the same time. Over drinks, we talked about how much fun it would be to work together someday. And that day, 12 years later, has finally arrived. He has implemented winning communications programs at IBM and General Motors. You probably know him best as the social media guy at GM back in the day. And he's consulted for Fortune 500 companies. He understands the real world challenges that professionals face improving their value, and he knows how to overcome them. He will lead the development of our new implementation frameworks. So with our clients, he will help them quickly identify gaps in their current approaches and provide opportunities for greater integration. Together, this team, with me in the middle, brings practical expertise in integration, adult learning specialization, and strategic leadership to help your efforts deliver better, measurable business outcomes. With this expanded and highly experienced leadership team in place, we're ready to elevate the PESO model even more and help more practitioners implement it correctly. But this raises an important question. How do you know if your current approach needs improvement? Consider these telling indicators that your PESO model implementation may be falling short. Number one, take the integration test. So take any significant piece of content that you or your team has created recently and track its path. You want to look at it and say, okay, did it begin as a blog post that was strategically pitched to relevant media? Was the resulting earned coverage amplified through targeted paid social? Did you capture the ensuing conversations as shared content that drove additional owned content creation and created that will of amplification and consistency? If you cannot trace clear pathways for your content across all four media types, you're likely implementing parallel tactics rather than an integrated strategy. That's number one. Number two is measurement. So teams that implement disconnected tactics typically report isolated metrics, such as social media engagement, media impressions, website traffic, click-through rates, and heaven forbid, advertising equivalencies. Please don't use advertising equivalencies. In contrast, PESO model practitioners measure integrated efforts and can draw a direct line from their efforts to business outcomes. When executives ask, what's the ROI, they have concrete answers, not just activity reports. Many talented professionals are working incredibly hard on disconnected tactics while wondering why they're not seeing the breakthrough results that we promise. And oftentimes they blame the PESO model. It is not the fault of the framework. It is not the fault of the PESO model. The answer lies not in working harder, but implementing smarter through integration. It's not tactics, it's strategy. It's not a tactic from each media type, it's integration and measurement. The career trajectories of PESO model certified practitioners tell a powerful story about the professional advantage of mastering integration. Recruitment inquiries increase significantly after professionals add that certification to their LinkedIn profiles and their resumes. We see an influx of job descriptions asking for PESO model certification as part of you applying for that job. It's been a ton of them lately. Internal advancement opportunities expand as executives recognize the strategic value of integration expertise. Consulting and freelance practitioners command premium rates for implementation guidance. Speaking and thought leadership opportunities multiply as organizations also seek integration insights. This isn't just about career advancement, it's about career sustainability. As automation and AI increasingly handle tactical execution, the professionals who thrive will be those who can develop integrated strategies that these tools support rather than replace. The industry is splitting into two distinct career paths, tactical executors and strategic integrators. certified PESO model practitioners are consistently finding themselves on the more rewarding, secure, and influential path, not just because they work in a more prestigious organization, but because they approach marketing and communications fundamentally differently than their peers. We stand at an inflection point for our profession. The coming years will bring even more rapid change, new platforms, shifting algorithms, evolving audience behaviors, robots completely taking over our mundane tasks, and technologies we haven't even yet imagined. Through it all, one thing remains constant: the power of strategic integration to deliver measurable results. The question isn't whether you'll adapt to these changes, but whether you'll do so reactively or proactively, whether you'll piece together disconnected tactics or implement a cohesive strategy that multiplies and amplifies the effectiveness of everything you do. 10 years ago, I created this model because I believed our profession deserved a seat at the strategic table. Today, I'm more convinced than ever that proper PESO model implementation is the key to claiming that seat. The framework has evolved, the support system has expanded, and the opportunity is clear. The only question that remains is this: are you ready to evolve with us? If you want to keep up with what's going on around the PESO model and you're not already a member of the SpinSucks community, join us. You can find us at spinsucks.com/spin-sucks-community. That's spinsucks.com/spin-sucks-community. It's a great place to get advice, brainstorm, and build relationships with your peers. I hope to see you there. And if I don't see you there, I'll see you here next week.